again, welcome everybody. Before I start, just a little technical thing. We have translation over in this corner. Whoever needs translation from English into Georgian, because this panel discussion will be in English. So first off, I'm very honored to be one of the first speakers and panelists and moderator of this event. And we are very lucky with the weather. So I think we will have a great time here, and hopefully it will not start raining. So to start off, I would like to have a little introduction round. Yeah? Your name, organization, how long have you been in Georgia, what is your field of work, right? I will start with myself. My name is Grzywatz. Please call me Chris. My last name is way too difficult, and my first name is too long. So please call me Chris. Yeah? I'm the director of Tbilisi Shelter City. I have been in Georgia for 7 years almost now. We are operating since 2016, and we are relocating human rights defenders from Eastern Europe and Eastern Partnership countries for a 3-month rehabilitation program to Georgia. And I will give the floor, let's do it clockwise, counterclockwise, whatever. So I will give the floor.
Hello, I'm happy to be with all of you today. Thank you so much. My name is Amal Samir. Please call me Amalia, as I beloved Georgian name. And I am founder and director for Better Future, as they say, the first refugee-led organization, women, led by women. And we established since 11 April 2023. It's like 5 months now. And I'm working in this field since 2019 under World Vision Georgia. I have been in Georgia like 7 years now, and I'm so happy because really I love how I feel this my home. And I'm so happy to be with all of you today. And please.
Hello. I'm Parvina Munavarova. I'm an interagency coordination officer with UNHCR Georgia. So in Georgia, UNHCR is present since 1990s, but these days, as you might know, UNHCR is the UN refugee agency that is mandated to provide international protection, humanitarian assistance, and together with the government seek solutions to the plight of forcibly displaced people. At the end of maybe just a bit of statistics on the refugees globally, at the end of 2022, the first time ever in the recorded history, the total number of forcibly displaced people reached over 100 million people worldwide. And out of that number, 38 million are refugees and those in need of international protection. So, as I said, our main mandate is to assist, protect, and seek solutions.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. My name is Ahmed Akil, and I'm Deputy Chairperson of Eco of Diversity, as well as a community group facilitator with World Vision. My specialty, like the field of work is like youth integration here in Georgia, and I have been here for 7 years.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sophia, the chairperson of the youth organization Eco of Diversity. My specialty is psychology, and we are working with Ahmed and our great colleagues during 3 years on diversity, integration, and like inclusion topics. So very glad to be here as well. Thanks.
Good afternoon. My name is Darpan Prasher. In Georgia, people know me as with the name of Darispan. I'm visiting Georgia from 2002, but permanently I'm living from since 2014. In 2017, when I saw that a lot of Indians are coming to Georgia, so I made this NGO, which is Cultural Diversity for Peaceful Future, and my NGO is working for cultural integration between India and Georgia. Since 2017, we have done, I can say, hundreds of events and programs just to integrate people. The Indians coming in Georgia, they feel comfortable and they don't face that problems that I faced when I came first time. So this is, thank you very much.
Hi everyone. First of all, I'm honored for your invitation. Thank you for having me. I'm Ben. My official name is Behnam Vali, but called as Ben Valia. My friends, because I love the Georgian nature environment, they call me First Migralian. But since I would say I'm in Georgia since 2017, and since 2019, I started working with World Vision on the project CMP Community Mobilization and Participation funded by UNHCR Georgia, which we are so grateful because it's helped a lot. And through the discussions, most probably we'll get to it, that it had a lot of impact on inclusion, specifically in Georgia. I am one of the co-founders of NGO Adore Georgia, refugee-led organization as well, which is mostly targeting the labor market or the barriers which immigrants and refugees have in Georgia. And I'm glad to be challenged today.
Hello everyone, my name is Olena Pikhtirova. Originally I'm from Mariupol, Ukraine, and I was forced to move to Georgia after the war started in my native country, my native city as well. Here I'm involved in humanitarian sector. I'm Ukrainian community group facilitator in World Vision, but now I'm representing an NGO founded by my colleague, Better Future. I'm an administration and as well I'm facilitator of several clubs there. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody. I can just say it again, it's an honor for me to moderate this very diverse and very interesting panel. To start off this panel discussion, because the name of this panel discussion is Georgia through the lens of inclusion. I would like to ask a question first. What does inclusion mean to you, right? And I'm not sure if everybody has the same ideas of inclusion, because we are from a lot of different backgrounds, from different continents, different cultures, different ethnicities. So I would like just to ask around, what does inclusion mean to you? Who would like to start, or shall we just go around again? None of the questions are mandatory, just to say, it's very relaxed, right? Yeah. Who would like to have a word?
Thank you for the question. I would love to answer, and I won't tell you that if anything I know it. I know because I learned it under great leaders from UNHCR. She one of my leaders, and also World Vision Georgia. They made a great project which including us as refugees and seeker humanitarian Ukrainian, and that helped us a lot in our communities. So whatever I'm telling you now, it's just because they empowered me a lot as a refugee woman to understand and manage to talk as I'm talking with you now. And my mind now, inclusion is to see me as a not burden. I'm not burden. I didn't come here to be just a beneficiary. I want to participate, and we build progress together in this country. I love this country like my homeland, not like my homeland. It's really my homeland now. My children don't know any place else, just only my home. And I would love to be part in building progress together, hand by hand, in this home. And we are a partner together in that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very powerful words indeed. Thank you. Who would like to say something? Yeah.
Okay, I would rather say from my soul, so avoiding like official terminologies. In my perspective, inclusion it's a kind of possibility to make plans for future. And I felt inclusive surrounding environment when I used to be in Ukraine, in my country. But after the war started, found myself here as a refugee without anything, without nobody from my close surrounding, just alone here. I didn't feel inclusive surrounding at all. But now I can make some plans for future of my kids. It's the most important for me. And as well, I try not to stop in this, because for me personally it's really important to feel needed and in demand. And I try and I want and I do as much as I can now in order to motivate the other refugees, just ordinary people, to move forward. You know, like Armstrong said once, just a small step for human. It's the biggest, just the enormous step for humanity. So now I try to do my small steps in order to provide the humanity. It would be like too much, but at least my community visibility and possibility to move forward, to continue their lives.
Great, thank you very much. Somebody else? Yes, Ahmed.
Thank you. Inclusion for me, which I think about is that we all live in a society like humans, because first we take birth as a human, then we put the lines and boundaries, make countries, languages, cultures, and for me inclusion is that we all should live in a society where we all consider as human beings, not with a language, not with the color, not with a race. So we should all live like human beings, because God made, I think, each human each same. The blood color is same. Everyone has two hands, two eyes, one nose. It's exactly same. So for me, inclusion is that we should live like as humans.
Great. Thank you very much. Wow, great points have been made, and it's very diverse answers, which is great. This is what I was looking for. Yes.
I was waiting for the others to basically conclude and share their opinion what inclusion means, and maybe just to conclude on that, from UNHCR perspective, from the legal perspective, as I'm a lawyer, that's our mandate, to ensure that forcibly displaced people, refugees, feel welcome in the society that hosts them. And here in Georgia, our work is mainly related to working with the government, with the society, with the community, Georgian community, refugee community, to give refugees the same opportunities so that they can thrive. And basically, my colleagues here mentioned that they have been working for World Vision as a community group facilitators, building and empowering their own communities, and that's exactly the example of an inclusion. And I'm really happy to hear the stories and their statements on how they see the inclusion, and that's why UNHCR is present here as well, because it's one of the key directions for us.
Super. Thank you very much for the conclusion and the definition as well. Thank you very much. So, wow, yeah, as I said, we have quite a diverse group. So let's think about your own definitions of inclusion, and let's think about if this is a measurement of progress regarding the country's development, right? So can we quantitatively measure inclusion, qualitatively, right? So is that a measurement of success of a country, right, in regards to its development, right? I will also give the floor. Everybody just raise the hand who wants to speak.
Okay, I just want to imply on the last former question, let's say, about the inclusion. I see the country that we are living in as a family. Let's say we are one family with few children, maybe 4 or 5 million children around, And there are parents who are planning something for life, for normal life, or vacation, or whatever, for growth of the children as well. You just don't buy stuff for one child and leave the...
Thank you very much. Yes.
So regarding the first question about what does inclusion means to me, basically most of the things that was, in my opinion, were covered by my colleagues over here. But regarding the how it does is measurable or something, I have like small example of being an asylum seeker or being a newcomer to the country. When I arrived to the country, many things were not available, or the information was not there, and through World Vision and the project which was funded by the UNHCR, people are having more easier ways to get to the education rights and to the healthcare rights, and that's part of the inclusion. I mean, when it comes to inclusion, it might be a big word or it might be like a broad word, but we can measure it also with the small things which happens. And for me, I have seen that communities are now involved. They know many stuff about the country, they know about the policies, they know about the laws and their rights. And that's a part for me is like, which is way too important, and it can be measurable for the long time.
Thank you.
Can I? From UNHCR's perspective, it's actually the rights of refugees and responsibilities are mainly mentioned under the International Refugee Law, which is the 1951 Convention that defines who is a refugee and also defines rights that refugees have. And based on that legally binding document, Georgia is a party to. All the governments who would accede to the convention, they are there to develop their asylum procedures and asylum processes, integration-related processes, etc. When it comes to progress, Georgia has its quite fair and efficient asylum procedure. Legally, refugees are included under all central level programs that are available to asylum seekers. Even refugees have right to employment, asylum seekers have right to employment since the beginning of the procedure. So if we basically analyze the progress that Georgia has made, and there were a number of laws that were revised to bring the Georgia legislation closer to the international standards when it comes to the protection of refugees. There were a number of programs where refugees were included and can benefit from the social protection scheme that the government of Georgia offers to Georgians. The recent example, I would say, the arrival of refugees from Ukraine, the response the government has put in place, including there was enormous solidarity from the society. And we were really happy to see the way the government, the way other refugees of other nationalities, as well as the NGO, civil society, and the community, Georgian community, stepped together to help the refugees from Ukraine. So right now, these days, Georgia, with its asylum system, is offering its capacity that is being shared with other countries, for other countries also to refine the asylum system in line with international standards.
Thank you.
To continue the topic about Ukrainian refugees, I would like to add that I've been to Georgia 1.5 years, and I was a kind of witness, and I had a possibility to observe the development of inclusion for Ukrainian community. Because when we approached to Georgia in the beginning, so there was a lot of support. Yes, I can't reject it, no how, so it was a lot. But lots of organizations worked with Ukrainian community only, so just for Ukrainians. And in that way, me personally, and I know people from my community who told me that they felt like separated a lot, even not a bit, a lot. And what I can observe during this time being here, so lots of organizations started working on inclusion, on diversity. So Ukrainians are more than welcome to join to other nationalities. And that's really amazing, because now they have real chance for integration.
Great, thank you very much. I would like also to add something about this. Of course, coming from a European country, for sure it was much easier for me than most of you to migrate to Georgia and to integrate in Georgia, but it's a bit of a personal story, because I do believe that the inclusion is a great measurement and a great indicator of the success of a country. In my personal case, I came here in 2016, and I came here without any plan. I was not involved in human rights field, right? I was an English teacher. And because this country, Georgia, is so welcoming to foreigners that I have experienced, right? I got immediately, within months, I had a community of Georgians, and expats alike. They gave me advice. They included me in their group within months. I have not experienced this before. I have lived in many countries, including Bosnia, Greece, UK, Italy, Austria, all over Europe. But for me, it was an indicator that in all these places, it was very difficult to make friends with locals. It took me more than 4 or 5 years to have a person in UK that I could call a friend, right? And here, it was very fast. And over the last 6 years, 7 years almost, I grew from an English teacher to the director of an organization here, right? And this is also an indicator how I personally was included in not just professional sphere, but also personal sphere, right? And all my friends, they are Georgians, and I have also expat friends. They have been here for many years. And this also shows you something. If a person from United States has been here now for 12 years, he is Afro-American. He came 12 years ago in Georgia. That was a very different stage back then. And he stayed. He married a Georgian woman. They have a child together, right? These are all measures of success for me on a personal level, right? So that was just a little personal anecdote from my side. Thank you. So now we had a lot of different ideas about the measurement, right? So maybe I would like to ask, because most of us, we come from different countries, how does Georgia and its approach to inclusion compare to your home country? Are there similarities? Maybe something does Georgia right, maybe something's not so good. How can, what are the comparisons? Who would like to? Yes?
I am from India. So when I came to Georgia, I never, from my first day when I came to Georgia, I never felt that I am somewhere outside my country. Similarity in India, we say that the guest is a god. The first thing which I learned in Georgian culture was the same. They treat the guest like a god, and they do everything. Unfortunately, in my first visit, I had few problems, but I felt that the people, just unknown people, and everyone who was around me was trying to help me. The similar thing is also, I know it's in India also. So we have many cultures, same in our cultural, our traditions also. I saw many things, like when I see here is a family. India is also known for its family. In Indian culture, we consider the whole world is one family. Vasudev Kutumbakam. Now we are having G20 going on in India, and the slogan is like this one. This is the whole world is a family. So the similarity, there are many similarities. Like there was only difference was the language. Rest, like as you tell me, that's friendship. They are always ready. Just meet once, have a toast of wine, and you are friend. Not only friend, and more than that, you are family friend, family member like that. So in this two culture, which I feel in India and Georgia when I came here, and when I learned Georgian language, I now not for a single second I feel that I'm not in my country. I feel it's like my home. When I get up and go out, and I have friends, I have meetings, meeting people. My NGO is working, doing so many things, not only for promoting Indian culture to Georgia. I'm taking Georgian culture to India also. So this was, I feel that there, there was many Georgians, they have this old information like from the YouTube or some, their grandfather told that, oh, India's people living in the streets, hungry, playing with the snakes and all these things. So I thought, how can I change it? I took one Georgian folk group to India first in 2020. And when they came back, they were just like crazy. They said, oh, we never thought that India is like that. Again, then COVID came and we could not do. Then in 2022, again, I took a theater there. And the people, they came back, they are still in shock. Till now, when they meet me, they're saying that, oh, where we went. We never expected these things in India. Now in this year, I go further, and we organized a theater festival, Georgian theater festival in India, in 2 cities of India, in Agra and in Jaipur. 70 people came with me, 4 theaters, Georgian television also. So till now, wherever I'm going, this opportunity now I have that I can go in any theater free of cost. This is I'm always welcome in any theater of Georgia, and I really love to visit the theaters. And everyone, they went there, they have now different perspective about India. They said, you are same like us, there is no difference. So I think if I calculate till now, I took around 80-90 people. I will continue this, but they will affect a lot, a big community they will come to know. That the reading and seeing video is a different thing, when your personal experience is a different thing. So just a small example, yesterday I went to a theater, I had 2 Indian friends, just they came here for their own business. So I took with me to that theater. That the play was in Georgian language. And when the play finished, they asked me, they want to meet the actors. So I take them to one actor, they choose from this all plays, so that she was playing very well. So we went to her, and this girl from India knows English. This girl, Georgian, she does not know English at all. But with emotions, this Indian tell her that how she liked her performance without even language. So when I go back home in the night, and this Georgian actor called me and she started crying. How all Indians are so warm. I felt when she was in India also. So I felt what I felt 1 year back. Today, same I feel from this one girl who I don't know who she is. So this is the thing that we can do. We can bring people together, and that will be much better that we are teaching someone through the books or stories. Take them and show. The same I'm doing for Indians, they come to Georgia. So thank you.
Maybe someone else? Yes, man.
I would like to divide this in 2 points, in my opinion. First is when we're talking about the inclusion, if we are talking about the tourists or the warmth of the Georgian culture and the Georgian people and the society, I'm totally down to it. It's 100%. Most of the countries, I mean, I'm from Iran, I come from Iran, which we have a lot of interactions together. This lovely country, Georgia, and Iranian lands and the governments mostly, they had a lot of interactions during the history, and our cultural, but the cultural part or the society part, I would say we are so close to each other. So I never felt really like being in a strange country, never. Yes, the first day I entered in Georgia, I didn't know the language. I thought I'm in heaven there, and they're speaking in tongues. But no, then I realized it's another language which I should learn. So, I mean, on the level of the tourism, it's perfect. It's awesome. especially if you come from some certain countries, which is kind of more stereotyped on the level of the, let's say, international level. But when we are talking about immigrants or refugees, it goes to the different level or different surface. And then it comes, the warmth is there still, there's no doubt in it, but it needs more than that. It needs more, let's say, systematic support. It needs more inclusive, let's say, policies. It needs more interaction and, I mean, every kind of things. Because when we're talking, I mean, if I want to compare it with Iran, I would be so ashamed because last, let's say, 15 years or 18 years, Iran is one of the most open countries for the neighbor country, Afghanistan. A lot of people from Afghanistan are running away from their country, from this crisis over there, and they're welcome to Iran. But what is the level of their life in Iran? I won't agree with that at all. I mean, I'm totally against it. And there is no future for them. There is no inclusion for them. But when we're, I mean, before that, Iran as well, I'm born and raised in Kuwait. There's no refugee at all over there, so I cannot talk about that. But, I mean, we do have a lot of immigrants in Kuwait, and they're living there. But I would call it immigration without integration. And they're just immigrants over there. As I was. I mean, I was born there, but I'm called an immigrant. And I see a Georgian society, let's say. I will call society because even the government, even the stakeholders, every single organization and the people are the society, which they need to work on it. But we need a lot of works to do. We have a lot of free spaces, available spaces, which needs to be worked on in the field of integration and specifically on inclusion of migrants and refugees. When we are talking, I mean, more in this panel, we have a lot of refugees from the Refugee Society. We do have migrants, we do have stakeholders, representatives, and a lot of people who are around. I'm so grateful to see all together, but still there's a lot of things which we lack. And when we were talking about the tourism, I would say 7 years being in Georgia, I never felt bad, like really, from even if some bad actions happened from like one Georgian person, definitely 10 other Georgians will come and will try to like solve it. I mean, that's the support that I receive always from the Georgian society. But on the level of integration, we really need a lot of things to do. So I will take the mic back. Thank you. Yeah, please.
Totally agree with you. And just to add, Ukraine is famous all around the world for its hospitality. But now I'm sure that Georgia can compete with Ukraine for this title. Just a short story from my own personal experience. When we came to Georgia, it was the first day. It was Saturday, almost night, and we were looking for some kind of accommodation. They were just me, my husband, and our son, and we were shocked. We didn't know what to do, and just an ordinary stranger, just a passing by, who saw our car on Ukrainian plate number, he rushed to us and told us, "Oh my God, you're from Ukraine. Probably you're hungry. Okay, let's go with me." So he served the dinner for all the family. He gave us basic, brief information about organization, what to do, what are our steps. And you know, I'm not sure that if you come to Ukraine in the same status as we came to Georgia, I'm not sure if you are as welcome as we were here. But for sure, it's not the last step on the ladder to development of inclusion in Georgia. So still we have some field to move on and on. So, but I'm sure that really Georgia is the most hospitable country nowadays.
Thank you very much. What a positive story and a sad history. Somebody else would like to add something? No? If not, I will actually directly what the speakers have said. Um, if there's some work to be done in regards with inclusion to migrants, to refugees, not tourism, as we heard, because yeah, we can see that tourism works very well, but in regards to migration, refugees, to include them, what is your idea? How can we change that? Maybe some initiative, some platform needs to be created, or something to foster more inclusion, right? For example, for my own personal experience, when I came here, one of the first things I have learned, because Georgian for me, it's a very difficult language. I have 4 languages in my head. They are not connected to Georgian, and it is very difficult. So the first things I have seen here on Facebook was language clubs, right? They can meet everywhere, in bars, in cafes, right? And many people from different countries are there. They're trying, everybody is trying to learn Georgian, so I'm not alone, thankfully, with the difficulties of the language. But but what can be done more for refugees or for migrants? Maybe a platform, an initiative to foster more inclusion. What are your ideas? Yep.
I would love to start from our own experience, because you mentioned Georgian language courses, and I really agree that Georgian is one of the hardest language. Not for me because I was born in Georgia, but yes, because I was working, and we have a lot of friends that who are like learning Georgian language, and we are going together through how it's hard, but also at the same time. It's not hard when they have the access, and this access is very very wide and diverse. The courses that our organization Eco Diversity provided was very non-formal and informal, because we had online courses during 3 months and more. And we tried to cover some other regions outside of Tbilisi, because we know that not every city provides some services for Georgian language courses. So we wanted to just create some non-formal environments through online platforms. So we made some social pages, and we were uploading some videos that really helped our beneficiaries to learn Georgian language courses. And importantly, not only Georgian language courses, because I think when you're coming in Georgia, it's important to get to know the culture and some sentences that is really useful, because if you're translating, maybe that's really not the right one that you need to use, because when you're going to shopping or somewhere, maybe you will hear something and you're confused because you learned something else, and then somebody asks you something else and then you're confused. So we provided the Georgian language that was really for everyday basis. And I think it was really useful, and we covered many different target groups, including Ukrainians and newcomers as well. We had some students, and they also were interested, I think. But I think that's also not really enough, and we really wish to have more services about Georgian language that will be useful for them, and culture. Yeah, that's all that I wanted to say. Maybe you will end that.
Thank you so much for this question. I would love to add, as a Better Future Refugee-led organization, that what we're doing, that we showing positive impact in our communities and society, as we helping several nationality. We giving our courses, we giving our, if we have English club, now it's working, and we have great diversity, we having several nationality, refugee, immigrant, asylum seeker, humanitarian, Ukrainian together in one club, and that help us to integrate and also give us a chance to communicate, to have better chance to show the world that we are, as we are a future-led organization, we're doing some kind of progress for other people, for local as well. We completely welcoming them as they welcoming us before. We just try to do something small for the society as we get everything before. We can't deny that they open the door. My kids studying here very well and they welcoming us. I get organized my education, my bachelor degree very well. I completely getting all the service very well. I try as a refugee lead organization Better Future to do a little thanks by giving also Georgians, the local and the IDB and Ukrainian, everybody. I try to give them kind of courses, whatever we can do, we try our best.
Before we decided to start our English-speaking club, we had a conversation with my colleague, like what to do, how can we help our communities. And we faced with several issues because of different cultures, religions, language is the most important. And we decided to start with English-speaking club. There we don't care about religion, we don't care about nationalities, we don't care about ages, so we are more than welcome to all participants who would like to join us. And the basic idea was, and still is, to provide them with basic knowledge of English, to motivate them to use this language, because I totally agree with you, Kri, that the Georgian language is just the most difficult. I can prove it. Yeah, and some of them studied English at school, so they have some just a bit knowledge of this language. So we decided to start with it, and then when they can communicate, when they have something joined, like joint language, so we can organize and create other courses and programs to help them with their integration, participation, and just to have fun from this life.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, this language, again, to come back to that, it was also another funny anecdote from my early days in Georgia, because the way I always learned a language, for example, in Greece or in Italy or in Spain, is I listen to people and I repeat. Sometimes it works out well, sometimes it can backfire. So whenever I went to the bakery, you know those little bakeries on every corner, right? So I just went there and I learned the numbers, okay. But what I didn't realize is that in Georgian you have 3 yeses. 3 words of saying yes. The one that I always heard was ho. So whenever I went to the bakery and she said 1 bread, I said ho, ho, ho. And I made them smile. And I didn't know why. So later, maybe after a couple of months, I realized this was the wrong yes. So yeah. So inclusion and these language courses are also, you know, a platform to foster cultural exchanges, right? So when I went to these language courses in the beginning, there were not just English speakers. There were Germans, there were Lebanese, there were Israelis. They all, you know, decided to live in Georgia and decided that Georgia is for them the place to be for now. And again, this is a very good indicator of success of inclusion. Yeah, maybe we should go away from the language thing. Maybe you have some idea about other initiatives, what can be done, for example, as an entry point to Georgia. What we do, for example, in my organization, when we receive our participants, we have a walking tour with our participants. But not a touristy walking tour, but it's more of a cultural walking tour to show them this, of course, Liberty Square, sure, but also some important parts of history that has changed. Georgia has a very tumultuous and rich history, right, where you can also draw some similarities to other countries, right, especially from Eastern Europe and Eastern Partnership countries. Well, when they were all in the Soviet Union, so there are some similarities in the history as well, and this can also be a starting point when you just arrive, a walking tour, but maybe more substantial, maybe something as a hub
a migration hub or a refugee hub. I believe there are some for Ukrainian refugees. But how about maybe from other countries? Are there some refugee hubs where people can go directly there to get some information, or is this something that is needed? I can put it in the middle and you
I'm just jumping to to grab the mic. Actually, I would like to not go back to the language, but bring it mildly till this point that you asked, which I believe each of the panelists would be having a lot to imply on, to put in. But about the integration, about the inclusion, all these things that we're talking, great words, very lovely words, very lovely, let's say, environment around it. But what is the necessary things? Yes, the newcomers all suffer from the language barrier, the most important thing in Georgia, which I strongly believe that it is, because I had the same issue, same problem. Once I went to one of the markets, hypermarkets, and on the phone I had my Georgian friend telling me I wanted to buy a glue, which in Georgian is tsebo. And so I went there, and they're like, all the staff of the market are there, and I said, on the phone they told me, ask for kartuli tsebo, chinuri tsebo. And so I didn't hear well. I assume I'm getting old, so I asked them, do you have chinuri bebo? And it means like grandmother. And they all were laughing that we have just Georgian grandmas, not Chinese. But the thing is, like, yes, I had this issue as well. But the language is the first step. But what after that? When we're talking about integration, when we're talking about the inclusion, we're talking about the life of people. Georgian society, or let's say not society, Georgian laws allows every single person who enters this country. One of the easiest countries to enter is Georgia. Let's be honest on that. And it gives you a lot of rights, which you won't see these rights in even super developed countries, which we call them super developed countries. But let's see it from the other side. Let's change our lenses, our eyeglasses. To give the right is good. It's awesome. But there are some dangers in front of that as well. It lacks a lot of things. And I'm not saying that, okay, we should limit that. No, we should help that. As we can take like Finland as an example. They had some issues with migrants and refugee societies to bring them into the elections. Let them elect and let them vote. And then when they decided, okay, let's do this, then they found out, okay, but these people, they don't know the politicians, they don't know the situation, so let's educate them. So they went to another level. I believe that in Georgia we do need this. And yes, talking about it is awesome. Having exchange clubs, language clubs, that's perfect. And 100%, not 100%, 1000% needed. But we need more. We need policies. We need some, let's say, state movements on this, or state will on that as well. Included the other states, let's say the helpers or assistants, or every single organization or every single activist who's working in here. I mean, to help the Georgian state to move on, to develop something. And I would put an example of migrants, let's say students. A lot of medical students are here, foreigners. They are paying well, and maybe not well as much as other countries, but still they are paying a lot. And so they're receiving their education. They're here at least, let's say, 3 years, 4 years. All these 4 years, they are using the infrastructure of the Georgia, the things that taxpayers paid for, the things that government is providing, helping, and the people are there, and everything is provided. So they are part of this community. They are part of the society. Yes, they are migrants for a few years. But after that, as soon as they finish, they have to get back because their residency would be cancelled, There's no policy to keep them here, at least for a while, give them some job, give them, like, let's say, I don't want to use force, but like make it happen to, like, they use the facility of Georgia 4 years. Yes, they paid for it, but you can use them. When they got the education, you can use them to develop the Georgian society, Georgian infrastructure, and then send them to other countries, let them go wherever they want, and let them be developing the other side as well. So it brings the development, it helps the integration, it's on the, like, exact center of the inclusive situation in Georgia. And that's what we're lacking now. And I would say, like, refugees have the laws, international laws. They have UNHCR, they have all different organizations supporting them, they have Ministry of Internal Affairs supporting them. Yes, but what about the migrants? They're really, like, classified. I don't want to say it's like that, but they are forgotten. And that's the thing that we really need. And it's not just about the language. Yes, since we all arrived in Georgia, most of the foreigners, we could finally speak. I mean, we could do some basic interactions with people. Body language, I don't know, at least speaking Iranian language, I knew 450 words minimum in Georgian language, parda, panjara, the things that it might not be used even, but I mean, we could interact. But what about the next step? And when the people have rights to do whatever they want, they have right to work, they have right to travel all around, but they need more than that. It's necessary.
Thank you.
Yes.
Coming back to the question, when you said, but I would like to add something on whatever Benny said. When it comes to the integration of refugees and what is needed or what can be initiated regarding that, in my opinion, and through the experience that I went through and we went through with the organization, whether it was with World Vision or it was with the Echo of Diversity, there is a huge lack of awareness. People in Georgia, until this day, they don't know what does refugee mean or who are the refugees. So basically, most of the refugees or asylum seekers over here are considered as tourists maybe or students. And we have to keep up that, because if you tell them that you are an asylum seeker or refugee, they would not recognize what you are talking about. So a huge lack of awareness. There is not much information regarding that. As soon as you are a foreigner, you might be either, like, you are classified as businessman, student, tourist, that's all. So there must be huge, yes, there are some campaigns, there are some stuff are being done, but it's not still enough. Most of the people don't know. Yes, even like in Tbilisi, people, not a lot of people know what are the refugees or who are they. If in Tbilisi the people are lost, like, what do you expect in the other regions, which are like, Tbilisi is like the most one of the most cities who most of the asylum seekers and refugees are living here. So there should be like huge campaigns, huge awareness, raising awareness to let them people know, because when the Georgians know that you are living here and you are settled here, like, you are not living here for a couple of years as a student and you are living, going back home, the perspective will be different. The way they will treat you would be different. And that's how you could include more and more, like, you could have much of inclusion. That was the first part, but when it comes to, like, when you said refugee hub or something where people can come and get information about that, where we are, the project that we are having right now, community group, community participation and mobilization, is the place that where refugees and newcomers can come and get information, whether it comes to healthcare or social assistance, employment, even like if they have some psychological issue, that is the place that where they can come and they can get all the assistance they need, basically. So yeah, thanks.
Great, thank you very much. Yes.
We were talking about the integration, and in this I would like to add that when immigrants coming to a new country, we are always talking about what we are expecting from the society. We never talk about what we should give them. In my NGO, we think a little different, and we started 2 programs. One was that we started basically 3, but one was only in the COVID time. We collected some food items and then start distributing to the older people. They were unable to go out, and I still remember the emotions of that old people when an Indian going with a packet of food to a Georgian family, and that old people, that it was really a very difficult time. But this was just for time being, it was in COVID. But after that, we have 2 programs where whoever watch that, they automatically start loving the society. One is Clean the Nature. We are having our group of volunteers in our NGO. Once in a month, sometimes it depends on, because mostly more are the students, they have their studies. So we plan like that. When we have time, we go outside to Tbilisi or somewhere in the nature. We clean the plastic bags and the garbage. The people moving through us and going, just watching outside from the road and watching that some Indians are coming here and cleaning their garbage. So it makes some difference in their mind. This was the one. The second, we started blood donation camp. That also actually we started in the COVID time, and we have done many times. So when this is also a very big thing, when a foreigner living in Georgia giving his blood for some Georgian patient, this is such a thing that any Georgian who saw it, they feel that, oh yeah, you are doing really a wonderful job. And really, whoever we met then after that and who watched that yes, we were doing that, it was really amazing. We should definitely think that the language is the must. I will say the things change in my life the moment I learned Georgian language. The first thing, not all, I traveled outside also. The neighbor country is Armenia, so I am frequently going there. So I don't know Armenian language, but the moment you sit in the taxi, the first thing that you are going to a country and sitting in a taxi and say to the driver, "Barevzes," so then his attitude changes immediately. So now he feels that, oh, you are my own person. So then this is the few things which we can at least we can learn for the conversation for our daily to daily life. And my suggestion, because I have experienced that, don't learn from the ear, better better learn from the alphabet first. When if you can read, and I don't feel that it's a difficult language actually, because English, we living in India, we were learning English from the childhood. It was very easy for us. But if you go for a language, if you don't know English, I think English is much difficult than Georgian. At least whatever you are writing, you are reading that. So it's a big difference between both these both languages. It's not so hard. If we want from our heart, we will learn. But start learning from the writing, from the alphabets, then it will definitely help you. And definitely we must think that we should not always expecting from the society. We should always think about what we can give to the society.
That's a very interesting and very good point that you made. Yes, I agree also. The responsibilities from our side, when we go to another country, that we also have a certain set of responsibilities. A good point, well made. Yes, yep.
Yeah. Okay, maybe just briefly, there are several dimensions on how we all can improve. If we're talking about the government, then there is a lot to improve and complement the government in its effort to provide protection to refugees. The other dimension would be the community support, and it's very important to include refugees in all the discussions and community arrangements, meetings, conferences. I'm very happy that you've included the topic of inclusion under this festival, and you invited the refugees to speak on their own. It would be really great if
the society, the NGOs, and basically others would include refugees under various programs that are being organized. We as UNHCR, we are working closely with the communities, and here you see the empowered community members who are now independent NGO directors or representatives. They're the ones voicing the community concerns. So it would be also great if you could have, as a society, as an NGO sector, as an international organizations, support the initiatives of the refugee-led organizations. We were talking about here language clubs, the Georgian language clubs, that first ever refugee youth organization and locals basically organized, and they're working and mobilizing the youth, not only the Georgian youth, but the refugee youth as well, to come together to develop certain programs. And that's how awareness starts. You start with small things, the way they started, and then they succeeded for the last 3 years. They're the ones basically voicing the concerns of the youth, including refugee youth. Then we have the first ever women-led organization, women refugee-led organization, Better Future, that basically unites all the refugees, irrespective of all the nationalities, and they're trying to basically build better future and better opportunities for refugees and locals, So that's how they're sharing the culture of all refugees with the local society, and that's how the local society can also contribute. And then we have the other refugee-led organization that is integration livelihoods focused, which is Adore Georgia, So having that kind of opportunities for refugees will really help them to improve and enhance and develop their knowledge and expertise in the areas they have chosen. And that would benefit the whole refugee community as it is, because once you empower, once you include refugees, that refugees would be feeling welcomed, and that's how they will start their lives anew in the new country that provides refuge to them. So that's really, really important to include refugees in various opportunities that are available in Georgia.
Great, thank you very much. Yes.
I think everything is covered, what I really wanted to say, but one thing that I want to share is that I think when you are working on a target group, it's important that this target group, the members from the target group, is also involved in these activities and are the decision makers. I think this is the thing that our organization had really important, because in our organization, as locals, as people under international protection, they are involved in our organization as well. And when we want to cover some target group, we already know what kind of challenges do they have. If we want some advice from the locals, we have the locals who can see the challenges. So I think that's really important that these people are involved in decision-making in Georgia. First of all, the education, that I really agree, because if you don't know that around you there exist these people and they are not tourists, they are not just students only, and they have different kind of roles in Georgia as students maybe and workers, and they are working, studying, and having life here. It's important to know that both sides, and I agree that this integration needs to go like both sides, and after that it's important to have some actions where all of us are involved and we are making decisions together. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Actually, I would like to add also something about generally inclusion. We have talked a lot about refugees, we have talked a lot about migrants, but we have not talked about people with disabilities, right? And one very important factor for my organization is because we relocate human rights defenders, right? And one thing that Georgia lacks is the availability or just to accommodate people with disabilities. For example, we have strong applications from human rights defenders who are wheelchair users, but we cannot relocate them to Georgia because Georgia is simply not ready for wheelchair users, right? Just if you look around here, how, right? So these are challenges that we, or that I face in my organization, that we simply, because it's not as inclusive as we wish to when it comes to people with disabilities, that we have to refer them perhaps to a European country like Netherlands, for example, for relocation and rehabilitation, right? So my next question would be that we have pinpointed now things that lack, right? So what do you think are the challenges why they don't exist, right? Well, what keeps it back? Is it the lack of advocacy or lobbying on certain levels? Is it maybe the lack of understanding from Georgian society? Or why is it that it's not there? Or maybe it's just too soon yet, because Georgia had a very recent, very tumultuous history. Maybe baby steps, maybe it will come later. So what are the challenges why these platforms or initiatives are not here yet? And if you can pinpoint a challenge, how could you overcome this challenge? What do you think? Yes.
I think we need several programs like yours program today, and several festivals like today. People need to see us, show really successful cases. People overcome all the difficulties. Coming refugees not easy, is hard, and we even going, never lose the hope, and we managed to create something to not only helping ourselves, to help the society, to help the community, including local. We need to show these cases. So we need to be many programs, and I would love also to be with you, of course. It really was amazing. It's amazing, really. And we need to show them and be with them. Like, I love to have a partnership with many organizations, and we work together for success, for helping each other, for helping society. Why not? And to know them and to be with them, we need to be in the same table and we talk. And we need this opportunity. And that's what we're looking for. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Yeah, this is also a very good networking opportunity I have seen now. I think there are a lot of things we have in common, and we can work in the future. Great. Yeah. Yes. Yep.
I would like to just point out the ladies, the women with the children. Let's say mothers with children, single mothers with children. In Georgia's today, we have a lot of women who are breadwinners. We have a lot of women who work. They have their husbands as well, but they have children. And when the mother is working 9 hours a day, six days a week, it's a catastrophe for the family, definitely. And it needs to be like empowered, to be given some, let's say, some privileges, let's say. And in many countries, they have this privilege. Not just women, I mean, people with disability, pension people, elderly people, let's say, or children with some cognitive problems, or some special health issues, or women who are just simply single mothers, or men who are single fathers. They need to be included or be given a little bit more privileges to afford their life and bring the future, create the future of the family as well, the children. That's one of the things that we see. If I want to bring it out in the refugee society in Georgia, we do have a lot of these people. In the migrants as well, we do have a lot. And in many countries, the inclusion brings this on the table. It's just the wind. And in many countries, there are programs to include these people, these specific categories or criteria of the people, to have more privileges in the employment, into the education level, or healthcare system. But in Georgia, on the healthcare system, quite a bit, it works well. We do have a lot of programs which we lack, a lot of other programs which we don't have it right now as well. But in the educational situation, or let's say employment, we really lack of support from upside down, not the individuals, because If we are talking about the community support, yes, communities can support each other as well, which mostly we are doing. Everyone is trying to do their best. But it needs some law, it needs some policy to be there. It needs advocacy, which takes time, yes, definitely. But we need to prepare ourselves not for just like next month, but at least 5 years later. It's just raising the children. When the woman is there, single mother or single father is there, they need employment. If we cannot provide it right now, at least let's make some plans for 3 years or 5 years later that they would have some more privileges. One of the examples is paternity leave, let's say, which we have here in Georgia. And some organizations are giving it, using it, some are not, which is sadness to hear that. But there, in a country like Iran, we do have some percentage on the employment level. Every year when there's employment in the governmental level, official level, or let's say organizations who are a little bit bigger organizations, they have to hire, for example, 18% of their employments, new employees, from the disabled people or the people who are in a vulnerable situation or in need of assistance. In Georgia, we still don't have that. And that might help the people with disability, that might help the people who are single parents, or those who are vulnerable but skillful and potentially a great employee to create some developments, next developments. This is one of the points that I wanted to share with. Yeah.
Recently, I found out that maternity leave period, the duration of maternity leave period in Georgia is just 6 months. For me, it was something shocked, because in Ukraine we have 3 years with financial support of the government. So in this case, a young family, a mother, she has enough time to educate, to spend with her child, to educate basic primary steps for her child, and then she can enroll her child into kindergarten or leave it with nannies or grandparents up to her wish. But here in Georgia, I was really shocked, 6 months. Then I asked, what's next? She needs to go to work. How? If she doesn't have relatives here, it may be speaking about immigrants, refugees, so we don't have relatives here. So, okay, what next? So you have to pay for a nurse or someone. I was shocked from this point of view. And speaking about inclusive education itself, educational process, it's the most, it's really weird here, because school, I hope all of you have seen the conditions of school. So schools are not ready. Programs are not ready at all. Teachers are not ready as well. The problem is not in teachers themselves. The problem is in salary. So they are not motivated to get a higher education, to learn new skills, to implement the skills in classroom, inclusive classroom. Because I work here with several schools, and what I found from teachers, they work not just in one school, at least in 2. Because the level of salary doesn't afford them to provide their family with basic needs. So how can I talk to them about some inclusion, about new approaches in education and so on, if the only thing troubles her is how to earn enough money to pay for accommodation, food, and medicine, primary, crucial. So I think our educational system should be renovated and on legal level. So we can't solve this problem just talking between each other. Yes, it's important, because the government has to listen that there is such opinion, that we see this problem, and the government needs to solve it.
Great, thank you. That's a good point, well made. Yeah, I do believe as well that the root is education, right? And that needs to be reformed. Yeah. You said I have my own experience with teachers. I have some friends who live in Kutaisi, and okay, we are talking about Tbilisi, but also in Kutaisi, it's the second biggest city still. Maybe it's Batumi now, who knows? But the situation there is also worse than it is here when it comes to just the availability of places in schools. The daughter of a friend of mine, they start school after lunch because they have to share the classroom, they have to share the teacher because there are not enough teachers available for the amount of children. So it needs to, the reformation of the education system definitely is it's a challenge that needs to be overcome, and in my opinion, this would foster inclusion as well if it's done right. If it's done right. Great. Thank you for mentioning this. We have talked a lot about migration, about refugees. Connected with that, on your personal experience, when you entered the workforce in Georgia, how was it for you personally to be part of a Georgian team or Georgian-led team, or how the inclusion on the workforce with the decision makers, maybe with the director, maybe with other stakeholders who are Georgian? How do you feel the inclusion on a professional level the same as on a social level? What is your experience? Oh, you're laughing.
Okay, before the war started, I used to work as a senior lecturer at two universities, Azov Maritime University Navigational Department and Donetsk State University of Management. So after coming here in Georgia, I tried to find something related to my field, and I couldn't because of language barrier, because like official documentation should be written in Georgian language, and even still, I don't know it. So I tried to find, I graduated from 3 universities, and I tried to find any position, everywhere. So would you like me to tell you my first job here in Georgia? Cleaning lady at a hotel. And it was shocked. Really, it was shocked. It's quite complicated to realize when you had a good position, good job, good colleagues, you know, like everything was, I was satisfied with my life. I was completely satisfied with my life in Ukraine before the war. And here, like, you know, like this situation just broke my mind. I was upset. I was absolutely disappointed. I was shocked. I didn't want to move on. I was depressed, really. I was depressed. And then, thanks to my husband, thanks to his support, because he had started to work here as well, and he told me, like, honey, it's not for you. Okay, just leave it. Okay, I will try our best to provide our family with everything we need and try to work in some fields you are really interested in. So thanks to him, I'm here with you, and I don't consider this as like the top level, so I will move on, and I will do everything to motivate my community. Not only my community, to inspire and motivate all people who really need it.
Thank you very much for your personal input. Someone else wants to add something? And I'm just looking at the clock. Oh, okay, it's already 20 to 2. I was thinking, if there are no other remarks from your side, to also include the audience, because I can see that we have some experts, maybe migrants, foreigners within the audience, maybe who would like to share a personal view of how their life in Georgia is and what Georgia has done to promote inclusion for them, or if it's their own initiative, or what are their own experiences. Is there interest from the audience to share some story with us? or questions to one of the panelists? I see some discussion over there. If not, I would also then ask the panelists to think about some success story. To finish our panel with a success story. If I look around, technically we are all success stories here, right? But maybe not on a personal level, but what you have seen throughout your years as a success story. For example, if I take from my point of view, again I have to draw back of what you have said earlier about the meaning of family in Georgia. Coming from Germany is quite different. You two have said that the cultural similarities, they are there, right? But coming from Germany, they are not there, right? As you might know, that Germans are a little bit, that Germans, also Ukrainians, correct me if I'm wrong, we are quite reserved people with a very large personal bubble around us, right? And here in Georgia, it's quite common to be very close and ask questions and be very, very interested. And for us, it might seem a little bit strange from a taxi driver to ask immediately if you're married and what you're doing here. But on the other hand, for me, to see what the institution of family means for Georgian people opened my eyes a little bit. Yeah, to experience this stronghold, which I never had. And I lived by myself since I'm 16, right? Because it's just something that is okay. 16 is not very common, but 18, 19 is very common in Germany. You leave your family's house, you go somewhere to study, or you go abroad. You live by yourself. This is how it goes. But here, to see that people in their mid-20s, maybe in their late 20s, still living at home, and they support each other, the support structure of family, I think this is something very, very interesting and very wholesome for me to have seen. And this I would classify as a success for me, because I'm integrated in one of those families right now, right? And to see the support, it's wow. You don't need to think about certain situations. You're always invited, even if you come home from work, you're tired, and you don't want to cook. There's always somebody cooking in the family. There's always food available at any point in time, right? Okay, this is a little bit on the superficial level, but this is for me a success story for me. To be here, to be part of a family, of a Georgian family, for me, it's super to see. So maybe you have also some success story that you would like to share. First, and after you.
I have a lot. Yes, yeah. I will make it very short.
Just to add that, that the next session is only starting at 2 o'clock, and there will be time to have a discussion. Maybe if somebody wants to ask a question, there will be some time afterwards. So it's not finished and we all leave, right? So, so you can share all your stories.
Not all. I started my NGO in 2017. When in 2016, suddenly a lot of Indians start coming to Georgia. So my first event which I organized, it was a 25th year of diplomatic relations between India and Georgia. I had no team, nothing. I just get up, think in my mind, I have to do like that. So I registered my NGO and make a Facebook page, send this invitation to few Indians. And it was amazing that I had, I think, 180 seats and 250 people came. Actually, it's like in our culture, and we grow up like that we have Rabindranath Tagore is a very famous writer. He wrote that the word is ekla chalo, means you have to move alone. So this was from our childhood we have in our mind, and Mahatma Gandhi did the same. He started walking and people coming with him. So the next, we have a very famous festival in India that is called Color Festival. So all Georgians were always asking me how you play it, how it is, what is about it. So I thought that I should organize an event for the Color Festival. And that time also I was alone without any team. Now I have team of students, I have team of volunteers, they are working very well. I print a banner, I go to Matasminda Park, I ask for the place, they said, okay, we don't need any money from you and we will give you the place free of cost. I bring color from India, I packed in small packages, and with the bags of colors and banner in my hand, I went to the park. I put my banner myself there, and now the music is there, and I'm waiting for the people. And it was very strange. More than 2,000 people came there. And you know how it gave me that like a stimulation to me. Yes, it can work. And then I show them what the color festival is. Not only in my speeches or some books or some movies. They feel themselves in life that what the color festival. Now we are doing every year. The thing which started in 2017 or 18, it's tradition for us. We are doing every year, adding every year some new event and going like that. And the most important thing is without any grant, without any help from, I can say, from government of India or any, we are contributing we are money with our own community. And if we do some event, there is a ticket to enter for our Indians. For Georgians, it's free of cost. So we want that they should also include with us and enjoy us, and they should not pay for that. So this is, I have few, and the best thing which after 5 years of my working, I never thought that I am showing someone that I am doing, but someone was watching. I got a message from Government of India that your NGO has been selected for a highest award from India, which President of India gives, that is Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award. Our NGO got in 2021. And with that, I also came to know that there are organizations working for 20 years. They even did not get that award. But I think that if you are doing something, someone is watching. If no one is watching, God is watching. So this thing, I feel that if you have a vision, move alone, people will definitely come with you.
Thank you very much. What a great story. Yes.
I really agree with you completely, because I have the same feeling. I did the same by other ways, but it was the same. I want to say that when you mentioned that we are success, it's very important. Never forget whom people behind the success. It's not about us. There is people working hard to do that several years. Once upon a day, it was a woman, widow with 2 kids, trying just to survive after she was a teacher, and they have all this kind of work, and she started as a cleaning. We all did the same. And one day she was looking for financial assistant, and she was lucky for that to go for World Vision and to be chosen to be working as a community group facilitator. And I consider this changing my life. They empowered me. They learned me. My director, Maggie, which she's not here, but I'm really thankful for her. She learned me a lot. And Parvina, during several years, she saw inside me what I evened from my hard experience as a refugee, never easy experience to come here. It was completely hard. And here is a good part. But before that, it was the hard part. So she saw inside me something, and she keeping empowering me. She was encouraging me. I felt that I can do because she believed on me. So we never, ever forget people who empowered us and believed in us in time. Nobody did that. And we never forget the community who supporting us, working hand by hand. And they did all these things because they believe in our vision. My work now, like 5 months, completely volunteers work. And I did several projects, and I keep and continue. People believe in my vision. People trusting me. I really thankful for them because they did that great, amazing things. Not me. That's all about them and from them. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for sharing. Thank you very much. Yes, one more, and then I will close, and then we have some space for discussions off stage.
So basically, I just wanted to say that when you said success stories, it came to my mind a lot of stories as well. But the most, the important thing, the most one which had an impact, it was the creation of the first refugee-led organization in Georgia. When I arrived to Georgia, people were telling me there should be a lot of organizations, people should know, and a lot of refugees should work in this field. And I had no idea what's going on in Georgia. When we went to the Justice House to register, it was the funny fact that they didn't know who we are. And they said that you cannot register, you guys are foreigners, and NGOs are for locals only, and you cannot be here. You cannot register like a humanitarian NGO. And through the help of Rice Georgia, it was like the lawyers, they wrote the constitution for us, they wrote everything for us, the status, and when we went there to the Justice House, they were shocked that we had this bunch of information. And that was a success because we know that after we registered our NGO, we knew that everyone who goes there and start to register an NGO with the refugee-led background, they will never ask him the same question that we went through. And that was like a really great story for us, like for the whole team that we had.
Maybe just to conclude, speaking about personal experiences and success. So I am in charge of community mobilization and participation direction in Georgia, in UNHCR in Georgia. So for me, the success, you see all these 3 refugee-led organizations, and I'm sitting as a panelist with them, sitting quietly. Normally, I'm not like that, you know. So basically, I'm so happy that these people are voicing their successes, their concerns, their challenges, and personal experiences. And to me, that's my sort of a personal success.
Perfect. I couldn't have concluded any better. Really, thank you very much. So yes, really, I cannot conclude any better. To summarize, we have talked a lot about inclusion of migrants and refugees, and again, I will finish this panel discussion for now, but we will have a lot of time throughout this festival to talk with other people. Now you have been seen, right? And for sure there will be some discussions later on, right? So thank you very much. You were amazing. You were amazing. Yeah? Thank you very much. Thank you. So, and the next, for those who are waiting for the next panel discussion, it will start roughly at 2, but keep in mind, it's Georgia, so it's a ±5 minutes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
5 Georgian minutes or 5 international minutes?